Democracy is resent. Democracy is resistance. Democracy doesn't come from the top, it comes from the bottom. Howard Zinn. The People Speak is a documentary based on Howard Zinn's books A People's History of the United States and Voices of a People of the United States. One of the many influential people recorded in this documentary is Sojourner Truth in her speech, Ain't I a Woman? Though there are at least two versions of the speech that I found, I prefer the one done by Kerry Washington. Sojourner was born in 1797 as Isabella Baumfree, a Dutch-speaking slave in New York. She was separated from her family very young and sold many times before finally being freed in 1826. 2 years later, she moved to New York City and became a preacher. There, she came in contact with abolitionists and women's rights crusaders and became a powerful speaker on both subjects. She tended to butt heads with women's rights crusaders such as Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Stanton when Stanton claimed not to support black voting if women were not allowed the same right. In 1843, she changed her name to Sojourner Truth, and in 1883, she died at home in Battle Creek, Michigan. Her speech goes like this. Well, children, there is so much racket there must be something out of the kilter. I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women at the North all talking about rights, the white men will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here about talking about? That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches, and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages, or over mud puddles, or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted, and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man, when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I've borne 13 children, and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me, and ain't I a woman? Then they talk about this thing in the head. What's this they call it? Intellect. That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights or Negroes' rights? I've my cup won't hold but a pint, and yours hold a quart. Wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little measure full? Then that little man in the black there, he says women can't have as much rights as men 'cause Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they's asking to do it. The men better let them. Obliged to you for hearing me, and now old Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say. Thank you.